Hello, this video is about Coles, the large supermarket company based in Australia. So if you've been to Australia before or you live in Australia, I'm sure this company or this name or this supermarket rings a bell. And so I'm going to quickly start with just the numbers of what this business creates or generates. And then I'm going to look into some of the other things about what sort of things they do, how they advertise and stuff like that. So firstly, let's start with the revenue. So in the financial year of 2025, they made 44.4 billion Australian dollars. And they made a earnings before interest and tax of $2.1 billion, a net profit after tax of $1.1 billion. My interpretation is that they have around 4,000 products exclusive to Coles, which means that these products are not sold anywhere else. E-commerce sales growth, so that is the sales growth of the products that they sold online. That is my interpretation. So that increased by 23.3%, and looks like they did 202 new stores and renewals. Let's have a quick look at the annual report. I find that the annual report is a really good place to learn a lot of things in a short amount of time. It has a lot of information about the business. So firstly, some images of sort of the staff members. So this would be a delivery driver, some of the customers, so some of the products, so baguettes and spring onions and things like that. Let's quickly go down to sort of their network. So this is the amount of stores that they have within Australia. So the map isn't present, but you can sort of see, sort of outline it in your mind. So they have, so these black dots are liquor stores. So that would be either Liquorland, First Choice, Vintage Cellars, Liquorland Warehouse, or Liquorland Cellars. And obviously the red ones would be the Coles or Coles local stores. So just looking at the numbers, you could see that in Tasmania there's 17 Coles stores, 23 liquor stores. You go all the way up to Queensland, they have 186 supermarkets, 244 liquor stores. And this is sort of their circle strategy. Let's go down. Just some of the things that they've done. This is the leadership team. So this lady is the CEO. The names are here. Leah Weckert and Peter Allen is the chairman. Let's go down. Now this is the executive leadership team. So many large organizations will have an executive leadership team responsible for certain things within the business, and it's usually listed over here. Let's go down. And it goes a little bit more deeper into the numbers, how they got the numbers, how they record the numbers. A lot of these things, they're tough to understand, but I suppose the more you read it, it gets a little bit easier. Okay, so that's the annual report. Let's have a look at some of their competitors, the organizations that they compete with. So Woolworths is definitely the most, the biggest competitor to Coles. Ritchie's Super IGA is also a big competitor, and Aldi, the German supermarket company. And so, yes, you could say these four companies compete with each other, but at the same time, they compete with everybody who sells groceries or food or drink. So it's it's a tough battle out there. Okay, so going back a little bit into the Coles operation, so we have the truck network. And so I'm sure if you've been on the roads in Australia, you will see very large trucks hauling who knows what. Usually it will say on the front of the truck, and in the case of Coles, it's the big COLES spread right across the truck, and it really grabs a lot of attention. Your eyes sort of glue itself to it, and it's very well done. and they have a partnership with Linfox. Linfox are the company where the trucks have this color scheme, the maroon and the yellow. And these trucks operate all around the country. They have definitely a lot of good contracts with the large businesses like Bunnings, Woolworths, or Dulux, for example. Okay. So yes, the truck network is definitely extremely big for Coles. They transport a huge amount of groceries to their. If you look on the annual report, the many stores, each store has to have a bunch of groceries transported to them, and so you can sort of imagine just the amount of trucks that have to be used to stock groceries for the daily needs of everybody. Let's go on some of their newer projects. So Coles have teamed up with this British company called Ocado to make these state-of-the-art robots that pick the grocery up and place it in a way that aligns to what the customer wants. And so I still don't understand a whole lot about how this works. But they've created this, and they've, I suppose, integrated it into their delivery operations. And so if you see trucks like this on the road, you'll know that it most likely came from the Ocado project. Okay, let's have a look at some of their other products or services. And so this is the Coles Mobile. So they also do mobile retailing, similar to Aldi and Kogan and those sorts of companies. They also do insurance, pet insurance, home insurance, car insurance. And yeah, so they do some other financial stuff as well, not just groceries. Let's have a look at now the Ohm brand. So this is the brands that are exclusive to Coles. And obviously in supermarkets you could buy brands that come from other places like Coca-Cola or Huggies Nappies, for example. They're made by other people. Other people from Huggies Nappies would be the people behind Kimberly-Clark, for example. Or Pepsi would come from the Pepsi people. They're not made from Coles people. But these are the Ohm brand products that are exclusive to Coles. And so it looks like they've broken it up into 3 different ranges. So one, I suppose, for the more value customer. The second is just the regular brand ones. And then the finest for the more high-end things. And these are some of the other smaller brands. So they sell like organic food through the Coles Organic, Coles Kitchen for the ready-made meals, Nature's Kitchen for the plant-based customers. And these are just some of the other brands that they sell. These are all accessible on their website. Now let's go into the driving force of why they're such an effective organization. So I found the Coles Supplier Central, and this is where they're able to use the trust and the understanding of people that they have to really get people to come into their stores and buy their stuff. And so a lot of it is definitely about building trust and advertising your store. And this is, I believe, their secret weapon to their success. So Coles 360 is all about connections. It's how we connect with customers at every turn of their lives. So it sort of goes to show what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out who, what, where, when, how, asking these questions about how to get the people into their stores, what do they want, what they might want. And so they do that by using media, so things that they think people are listening to, and then what they're trying to do is add the Coles brand into what they're listening to as well. And so this document will sort of outline some of the things that they've done. And so firstly, it's about awareness. And so building awareness of your brand. And so in this case, it would be Coles. And how they done that is through things like YouTube advertising. After you watch a YouTube video, an ad will come up. Facebook. And so Facebook advertising for people that are scrolling through Facebook. They have Flybuys. So Flybuys is the loyalty program run by Coles and Wesfarmers. It's a 50-50 joint venture. And what they do is it's a loyalty program for their customers. You scan the card and the customer will get some points that are available to be used in the next purchase. There are many other features as well. But then Coles and Wesfarmers uses the information that they got from the customer to make decisions. And so it's quite a very, very good tool for them. These are sort of more mobile phone related designs. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, so the Coles magazine, they're usually given out to customers, or they're usually at the store. They sort of outline what sort of recipes that you could cook, and it entices you to come into the store so that they could cook the recipes. The Health and Beauty magazine, outlining sort of the more health and beauty products that they sell. They even mention things like desire. So stimulate desire for your product in the physical and digital store environment where customers are actively engaged. And so when you approach a Coles store, you'll see an entry screen that moves, and so it's very eye-catching, and it brings attention to a certain product that the business might want to sell more urgently. It outlines some of the coverage that it has. Coles Online is their website where you can buy their groceries. They sort of outline some of the designs that they have. They have an app as well. So Coles Radio, this is a really big one. So I believe this is one of their many secret weapons to bring customers in. They play a lot of music that reaches a broad audience. So if you spend maybe 10 to 20 minutes in a Coles store, there will at least be a song that a big chunk of the people in there would enjoy. And so they really pay attention to making sure that the music is good and appropriate for every single person in the country. And yeah, a lot of the information is sort of written here as well, such as reaching over 7 million shoppers per week. And so 7 million people will listen to the music that Coles plays, whether they like it or not. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, so these sorts of banners that they put. And also some of the other stuff that they have, such as the end of the aisle. They will have sort of more high attention products, or products that they want to sell. And yeah, these are just designs that they have to help drive as much sales as they can. Okay, that is the Coles 360. Now let's go to the uniform. So all the employees have to follow a pretty strict uniform code, and I also think that's a driving force of the business. It creates unity within the staff, and it builds trust with the people around you, and that's why they've worked very hard to make sure that the uniforms are kept in strict standards for everybody. All right. Now that's pretty much all for today. Hopefully I could talk a little bit more deeper into the business later on. And I want to try and explore some of the other businesses as well, such as Woolworths and IGA and Aldi. Okay, so thank you very much for listening.